So I think we can all be honest right now and say that North Melbourne have had a disaster of a season. Again, it absolutely started really at the end of 2024 with just the, I think, terrible list management that we were witnessing. Again, I think everyone and their dad kind of had the same opinion that North Melbourne needed to absolutely invest in this backline and get, of course, Larky, another key forward to run with. But again, yeah, they kind of got Lucky another key forward to run with. They got him Jack Darling, who has actually surprisingly been pretty good this year. And then I think their solution to fix their backline ended up being Caleb Daniel. So again, there were hopes that North Melbourne were going to move up in 2025. I didn't think they were going to, just purely because I still believe their backline was absolutely pure booty cheeks. And because there was a lot of hope that they were going to improve and move up, and the media talking them up, I think the list management actually started to feed into this and listen to it, with them thinking they were kind of ready now, and they actually decided to trade away their future first round pick, of course, to add another first in last year's draft, which was stacked, and they decided to trade their future first and select Matt Whitlock. Now again, we don't know if Matt Whitlock is going to be a good player. He's played 2 games, he's a very tall prospect. There's a lot of different thoughts and opinions on him and his brother around town, and at the end of the day, he's probably going to be a project player who's going to take years to develop. But again, Matt Whitlock, even though he was selected in a super draft, was ranked like pick 25 to 30 at best. And North thought it was a great idea just because they thought they were ready and they were going to be good in 2025. They thought it would be the right idea to trade their 2025 first round pick, which ended up being pick 3. How the hell could you trade that for freaking Matt Whitlock? What were you thinking? And look, I hope Matt Whitlock turns into prime LeBron and proves me wrong. But it was an idiotic idea. North still didn't get any backmen. They had a terrible 2025, and now they're on the redemption to improve themselves and again add some key players over this offseason. Again, one of the reports that is being said is that North Melbourne have held preliminary talks and are very interested in contract premiership key defender Jake Lever, and that is being reported by Tom Morris. Again, this is I think repeating history. Last year, North Melbourne brought in a ton of veteran and older players who were well past their prime to play a small role. Again, some of them did it. Luke Parker's been okay. Darling's been above average. But then you had players like Caleb Daniel, who I think has just flat out been terrible this year and couldn't defend a fly on the wall. Again, they need key defenders. They need key defenders bad. And they need to improve that stock, because Charlie Comben, when I watch him play, just doesn't look like a key defender. And Toby Pink, even though it's a meme to say we all love him, and he can do a job. At the end of the day, I watched washed-ass 33-year-old Tom Lynch have like 7 scoring shots on him and could have probably kicked 10 if Richmond's ball movement wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. So they definitely need key defenders. But is Jake Lever the fix to that? I don't think so. I think you are again repeating history by bringing in a washed older player to fill out a small role. Again, I think you need to start bringing in some bigger players to fill in bigger roles. Again, I still think it was a mistake last year for them at the draft. At the end of the day, to probably not take Taru. I know they couldn't trade down because teams were really happy with all their picks. But honestly, at the pick that they had, pick 2 or whatever, I still think maybe even taking Taru over O'Sullivan would have been the right idea again. O'Sullivan could turn into a star. But I think Taru's going to be an elite backman. I also think they needed to find a way to get Luke Traynor in that draft. They didn't. They let him slip to Richmond. But again, they're going after another veteran guy here in Jake Lever, who is well past his prime, has been dropped by Melbourne, who at times this year has been 15th, only 1 position ahead of you. And your goal is now to bring him in and, get him to the club and just hope for the best. I mean, yeah, at least this is a better move in my opinion than the other veterans they brought in last year. I still think Jake Lever has some okay footy to play, and I still think he's a lot better of a player than what Caleb Daniel is, and maybe can teach some of these other tools and whatnot they've got back there, some leadership and, some actual experience. But yeah, it is a tough one. Again, I'm going to say this is an okay move, but you are repeating history, which can be very concerning because it almost shows that you haven't learnt and haven't moved on. But yeah, we'll see on that one. They're going for Lever here. Could be a good idea if they do to get him. Again, the move that I've actually really warmed up and opened up to does happen to be Windhager, Marcus Windhager from St Kilda. It is being reported that North are actually offering him a 5-year deal, and this is being reported by Cal Toomey. Now, I still think Windhager probably will re-sign. Again, unfortunately though, they've only offered him 2 years, the Saints, and he reportedly wants at least 4 minimum. North have come out and said, shit, you want 4 minimum, we'll just give you freaking 5 and see what happens. Again, I didn't really like this idea because I thought North Melbourne have already got way too many midfielders on their team. O'Sullivan, Parker now, they just added both of them last year. I just really thought they were done and needed to stop adding midfielders. But when I look at their team, and I realize that a lot of the midfielders they have are inside players that they're trying to move on the high half forward or playing them off half back. You look at Sheasel, who they've played him off half back, they played him up high half forward. You look at McKercher, they're playing him off as a half back right now. Finn O'Sullivan's played some half back. They're trying to get these midfielders who can really rotate around the ground and learn. But Windhager is an interesting one because he's actually a midfielder who really has the ability to play wing. And I was looking at their wings the other day at North Melbourne. I'm thinking they could actually probably use a solid wing here. I mean, there's no reason why Marcus Windhager couldn't become an elite wing, at North Melbourne. They still have the ability to have a good, have Windhager be a really good wingman in the game. Again, he's only like 23 years of age. He's been playing a lot of inside midfield, but there have been tendencies of him playing on the wing. And I really do wonder if they said to him, look, you're a midfielder at St Kilda and you tag a lot. What if you came to us and you were a wing who chipped in the midfield? We give you a 5-year deal. You can extra learn on that wing, become a really good player. And it's something we really need positionally wise. And we know you're very defensive as well. And we need some defensive ability in the team too. Come to the team. Again, I think that would be a good idea. Again, at the end of the day, North Melbourne have the worst defense in the AFL. Whether it's their midfielders who can't really two-run, their half-backs who couldn't defend a fly on their wall, or their key-backs who have 7 scoring shots kicked on them by a washed-ass Tom Lynch. And that's no offense to Tom Lynch. I love Tom Lynch, but goddamn, he's a clunk out there. And I'm a Richmond fan, I can admit that. I think, yeah, they need to go defensive. And, I mean, Windhager, he's a very good defensive player. He can tag, which North could use. He can play the wing, very good two-way runner. North could absolutely use that. Then for Jake Lever, I mean, is Jake Lever the right option? Probably not. But at the end of the day, I still think Jake Lever would probably become their best key defender straight up. Also, he's better than the players like Caleb Daniel you've brought in. I think they need to go taller. They don't really have a guy who can guard that, third tall consistently. Like Griffin Lowe gets beaten so often. Again, I think he needs a big off-season. But maybe Lever is the type of guy they can bring in. Again, I think they desperately need to get some defenders in. If I was them, Windhager, yeah. Lever, yeah. So you got a key defender and you got a defensive two-way runner who can play as a defensive wing and a tagger. Then in the draft, I think they should 100% go for a half-back. Try and find a really good defensive half-back to come in. Replace Caleb Daniel. Caleb Daniel's, he shouldn't be playing much longer. He's not that good of a football player and he can't defend. Go out and get yourself a half-back who can actually defend. Especially like a Luke Trainer that they really should have got last year. Try and get a Luke Trainer into the team who can, defend tall and small. Maybe try and do that. I don't really know what it's going to be, but they need to add some defensive players. And this looks like how they're really trying to fix their team and the move that they're going for. And I actually don't mind it. I think it's relatively a good idea. So I'm quite happy with this. And I think this could hopefully be a much better off-season for them than what last year's one was. But again, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all latest AFL content and AFL news. Let me know what you guys think about North Melbourne, if these picks are right, if they're wrong, all of the above. Again, subscribe to my channel for all those sports content, my gaming/movie channel, which will be linked down below, as well as my Instagram. Check all them out. Yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.